For generations, December 25th has been the date etched in our minds as the day the Savior was born. But what if I told you that clues hidden in the pages of the Bible, whispered through history, and written in the stars, paint a very different picture? Wow! What if everything we thought we knew about the Nativity story was incomplete? Shepherds watching their flocks in the chill of the night, a celestial sign blazing across the heavens, and the profound symbolism of a date that aligns perfectly with ancient prophecy. What if the true timing of Christ's birth held even deeper meaning than we've ever realized? Could unlocking these clues transform the way we understand the Nativity story, perhaps even deepen our faith? In this video, we're embarking on an incredible journey. We'll follow the trail of biblical evidence, dive into the priestly schedules of ancient Israel, and gaze at the stars themselves for answers. Why have these clues been overlooked for so long? What are they hiding? And what does this mean for the way we celebrate the birth of Jesus? Get ready to unravel mysteries buried for millennia, explore revelations that will leave you in awe, and challenge everything you thought you knew about one of the most celebrated events in history. The true story is waiting to be uncovered. Are you ready to discover it? Let's begin. Have you ever wondered why we celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ on December 25? Who decided this date? And more importantly, is it even accurate? For centuries, Christians worldwide have commemorated the Nativity on this day, but the real story may be much more intriguing and surprising. Early church leaders chose December 25 not because they were certain of its accuracy, but to align with the Roman festival of Saturnalia, a celebration of the winter solstice. It was a strategic decision to shift focus from pagan traditions to Christ, the true light of the world. Why does it matter when Jesus was born? Because understanding the true timeline adds depth to the Nativity story. It reveals layers of meaning that deepen our faith and illuminate God's divine plan. The shepherds. Luke 2:8 tells us they were in the fields, keeping watch over their sheep at night. But in Israel, shepherds rarely grazed their flocks outdoors in winter. It was too cold. Instead, they brought the animals indoors by mid-fall. This detail alone raises questions. Could Jesus' birth have occurred in a warmer season, perhaps in late summer or early autumn? The Star of Bethlehem, Matthew 2:02, speaks of the Magi following a celestial sign. Modern astronomy points to fascinating events like the conjunction of Jupiter and Venus that occurred in months other than December. Could the heavens themselves hold the secret to Jesus' true birth date? What if the true month of Jesus' birth aligns with ancient Jewish festivals? The Feast of Tabernacles, celebrated in September or October, is a strong candidate. Known as the festival of God dwelling with His people, it beautifully foreshadows John 1:14. The Word became flesh and made His dwelling among us. Doesn't that symbolism send chills down your spine? Jesus, the Messiah, coming to dwell among us during a festival celebrating God's presence. And let's not forget the priestly division of Zechariah, John the Baptist's father. His service in the temple, described in Luke 1:05, offers yet another clue. Based on Jewish tradition, we can estimate the timeline of John's conception, and by extension Jesus' birth, placing it in early autumn rather than winter. Let me take you back to the fields of Bethlehem. The shepherds hear an angelic proclamation. "Do not be afraid. I bring you good news that will cause great joy for all the people." Luke chapter 2, verse 10. Imagine their awe, standing under a canopy of stars. Now picture this moment in late September, under a crisp autumn sky. The crops are being harvested, the air is filled with the promise of abundance, and the Feast of Tabernacles is underway. In this context, the birth of the Savior feels even more profound, doesn't it? Does this mean we should stop celebrating Christmas on December 25? Not at all, but it does mean we should dig deeper. What if uncovering the true season of Jesus' birth could bring us closer to the heart of God's plan? If the Bible holds these clues, isn't it worth exploring? What else might we discover about God's story, about our story, hidden in the details? We'll embark on a journey to uncover the truth, guided by three extraordinary clues: the shepherds tending their flocks, the priestly division of Zechariah, and the breathtaking alignment of prophecy with celestial events. These clues not only shed light on the timing of Jesus' birth, but also reveal a deeper spiritual message that resonates through the ages. Clue 1. The shepherds and the fields. Let's begin where the Gospel of Luke takes us, among the shepherds in the fields. Luke 2:8 tells us, "And there were shepherds living out in the fields nearby, keeping watch over their flocks at night." But here's something fascinating. Shepherds in Israel didn't typically watch over their flocks outdoors in December. Winter in Bethlehem is cold and rainy, making outdoor grazing nearly impossible. Instead, this detail points to a warmer season, likely spring, summer, or early autumn. Imagine the scene. Soft, golden fields under a starry sky, the silence broken by the sound of sheep, and a heavenly host proclaiming the birth of the Messiah. Could this timing suggest Jesus was born in late summer or early fall? Or a wider range of periods makes it almost impossible to read the future. This isn't just a detail, it's a vital clue. But the story doesn't end here. Mark McMaden, a private sector executive, told me about an employee friend who had depression and who prescribed the treatment. Clue 2, the priestly division of Zechariah. The title, once more. Now let's turn to Zechariah, the father of John the Baptist. His story holds another key to unlocking Jesus' birth date. Luke 1:05 tells us Zechariah belonged to the priestly division of Abijah. According to Jewish tradition, the division of Abijah served in the temple during specific weeks of the year. By aligning these schedules with the Hebrew calendar, scholars estimate Zechariah's service occurred in late June. Shortly after his service, he and Elizabeth conceived John the Baptist. Luke 1:36 says, Elizabeth was 6 months pregnant when Mary conceived Jesus. Adding this timeline places Jesus' birth in late September or early October. Think about it. Jesus may have been born during the Feast of Tabernacles, a time when Jewish families celebrated God dwelling among His people. How fitting that the Savior, the Word made flesh, would tabernacle among us during this holy time. Clue 3. The Star of Bethlehem and prophetic celestial events. Finally, let's look to the heavens for answers. The Star of Bethlehem, mentioned in Matthew 2, guided the Magi to Jesus. But what was this star, and when did it appear? Astronomers and theologians have proposed several theories. One compelling explanation is the conjunction of Jupiter and Venus, which occurred in 3 BC and again in September of 2 BC. During these alignments, the two brightest planets appeared as one brilliant light in the sky, a fitting star to announce the birth of the King of Kings. Even more intriguing, Revelation 12:01 describes a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet. This celestial event aligns with a specific constellation visible in September, adding another layer to the puzzle. These clues don't just point to a new timeline. They reveal a deeper spiritual truth. Jesus' birth may not have been on December 25, but the significance of His coming transcends any date. The shepherds, the temple service, and the celestial signs all point to a God who orchestrates history with precision and purpose. If Jesus was born during the Feast of Tabernacles, it underscores a profound message. God dwells with us. The Word became flesh and made His dwelling among us. John 1:14. This truth invites us to celebrate not just a single day, but the eternal hope and joy His birth brings to the world. Deep dive into key topics, the true month of Jesus Christ's birth. Clue 1. The shepherds and the fields. Clue 2:8 paints a vivid scene. There were shepherds living out in the fields nearby, keeping watch over their flocks at night. This simple verse has sparked centuries of reflection, but it also carries a clue that's easy to miss. In ancient Israel, shepherds grazed their sheep outdoors from spring to early autumn, avoiding the harsh winter months when temperatures dipped too low. By December, flocks were typically sheltered in pens, and shepherds would not have been out in the fields. If the shepherds were in the fields that night, could it mean Jesus was born during a warmer season? Many scholars believe this points to a late summer or early fall time frame, possibly September. Could it be that the image of shepherds under a December sky is less about historical accuracy and more about the deeper message of Christ's arrival? Drop a comment below. Do you think this changes the way we view the Nativity story? Clue 2. The priestly division of Zechariah. Luke 5 introduces us to Zechariah, the father of John the Baptist. He belonged to the priestly division of Abijah, one of 24 groups of priests who served in the temple on a rotating schedule. Historical Jewish records show that each division served for 1 week, twice a year. The division of Abijah was assigned to serve in late June. Shortly after his service, Zechariah's wife Elizabeth conceived John the Baptist. Luke 1:26 tells us that Mary conceived Jesus 6 months after Elizabeth. This places Jesus' conception in December, making his birth likely in September or early October, around the time of the Feast of Tabernacles. This timing aligns beautifully with the symbolism of God dwelling among his people, John 1:14. The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. Could it be that Jesus' birth was orchestrated to coincide with a sacred moment of divine presence? Does this make you wonder about the intricate ways God's plans unfold? Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you think this timeline fits the story of Jesus' birth? Clue 3. Celestial events and prophecy. In Matthew 2:02, the Magi said, "We saw his star when it rose, and have come to worship him." This mysterious star has puzzled scholars for centuries. Could astronomy offer answers? Astronomers have studied celestial events around the time of Jesus' birth. 2 key phenomena stand out: a rare conjunction of Jupiter and Venus in June or September of 2 BC, creating a bright star-like appearance. A constellation aligning with Revelation 12:01, where a woman clothed with the sun, symbolic of Mary, is crowned with 12 stars. This celestial sign occurred in September of 3 BC. These events align with the biblical narrative, pointing to September as a possible time for Jesus' birth. The heavens, it seems, were declaring the glory of God in real time. Could the Star of Bethlehem have been more than a miraculous sign? Perhaps a divine orchestration written into the cosmos itself? What do you think about this celestial evidence? Let us know in the comments below. These clues, shepherds in the fields, Zechariah's priestly service, and the Star of Bethlehem, all converge to point us toward a different time frame for Jesus' birth. But the question remains, why does it matter? The true timing of Christ's birth is more than just a date on a calendar. It's a key to unlocking deeper spiritual truths about God's perfect plan. Jesus' birth wasn't just an event. It was a divine fulfillment of prophecy. Every detail surrounding his arrival holds profound meaning, from the shepherds in the fields to the celestial signs that lit up the night sky. These aren't random details. They are divine markers pointing to God's plan for humanity. Have you ever wondered why December 25th was chosen to celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ? In the 4th century, Christianity was rising amidst a world dominated by pagan traditions. The Roman Empire was bustling with festivals, and one of the most prominent was Saturnalia, a week-long celebration of feasting, gift-giving, and merriment in honor of Saturn, the god of agriculture. And then there was Sol Invictus, the unconquered sun, a festival celebrating the winter solstice and the rebirth of sunlight. These celebrations marked a time of hope as the darkest days of winter began to give way to the increasing light. It was during this time that the early church faced a challenge. How could it draw the hearts of people away from pagan festivities and toward the light of Christ? The answer was bold. December 25 was chosen to celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ. the true light of the world. But why align the holiest birth with pagan traditions? This wasn't an act of compromise. It was a declaration of victory. By choosing this date, the Church boldly proclaimed that Christ was the fulfillment of all hope, the eternal light that outshines all earthly celebrations. The decision to Christianize pagan traditions wasn't merely strategic, it was deeply theological. The early Church saw Jesus as the ultimate fulfillment of every longing. Just as the sun brings warmth and life to the earth, Christ brought salvation to a dark and broken world. In fact, many early Christians drew parallels between the sun and the sun. Malachi 4:2 describes Jesus as the Son of Righteousness, who rises with healing in his wings. By choosing December 25, the Church transformed a day once dedicated to the sun into a celebration of the Son of God. Here's where it gets even more intriguing. While most of the Western Church celebrates Christmas on December 25, the Orthodox Church marks the occasion on January 7. Why the difference? This variation stems from the use of different calendars. The Western Church adopted the Gregorian calendar in the 16th century, while the Orthodox Church still follows the Julian calendar. But the key takeaway is this: regardless of the date, the message of Christ's birth remains the same. A moment of hope, redemption, and divine love. Here's the truth: the date itself might not matter as much as the meaning behind the celebration. December 25th, January 7, or even another day entirely. The essence of Christmas is about the profound miracle of Emmanuel, God with us. Emmanuel to name. What's important is not the calendar, but the transformation that Christ's birth brings to our lives. It's a reminder that God entered the world in the humblest of ways, a baby born in a manger, to bring light to darkness and hope to humanity. In the end, whether Jesus was born in December, September, or another time altogether, what matters most is that he was born. He stepped into our world to bring hope, healing, and salvation. So as you reflect on this incredible story, let the light of Christ shine in your heart, not just on Christmas, but every day of the year. And remember, the message of his birth is timeless. The Savior has come, and his light will never be overcome. The true month of Jesus Christ's birth isn't just a historical detail, it's a reminder of the perfect timing of God's love for humanity. Let's carry this revelation in our hearts and share the joy of the Savior's coming with the world. If this video has inspired you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share your thoughts. When do you think Jesus was truly born, and how does this change the way you celebrate his birth? Let's start the conversation and uncover more of God's mysteries together. Thank you for watching, and may God bless you abundantly. See you in the next video.